My girlfriend was a New York socialite from a powerful Astor family, worth billions, yet she wouldn't spend a dime on me. We even had to go Dutch when buying condoms at the convenience store. Later, when my mom fell gravely ill, I borrowed from everyone I knew, but I was still $2,000 short for her surgery. No matter how desperately I begged my girlfriend, Ava, she refused to lend me the money. After I handled my mother's funeral arrangements alone and went home to pack my things, I stumbled upon a list of gifts she'd bought for her neighbor's younger brother. A mansion in the Hamptons, luxury watches, haute couture gowns. There was also a chat log with her best friend, Scarlett. I heard Liam actually got on his knees to beg you for $2,000. Is that true? Scarlett scoffed, her voice casual and dismissive. Liam was right, groveling to everyone for $2,000. If that's not a gold digger, I don't know what is. We've only been together 7 years, and he's already this desperate to leech money off me. So, this 7-year test of our relationship was nothing more than a result of her neighbor's brother, Liam, stirring up trouble. It didn't matter anymore. From the moment my mother passed, I had decided to leave her. Just as I put the gift list back where I found it, the front door opened. Ava, reeking slightly of alcohol, sauntered in and sat down beside me. Disappeared for a few days. I thought you had some backbone, that you wouldn't come back. But here you are, crawling back. You just can't leave me, can you? She was practically accusing me of coming back to swindle money from her. Perhaps in her eyes, I'd always been nothing but a gold digger. I didn't even look up, just scooted over, avoiding the arm she tried to drape over my shoulder. She froze for a second, looking at her hand, then at me, probably thinking I was just sulking about the $2,000. I've had a bit to drink, and I'm thirsty. Go make me some soup to sober me up. She always did that, unconsciously putting on her princess airs. But 7 years ago, when she first pursued me, she'd used her clumsy acting skills to portray herself as poor, completely fooling me. Liam, I don't have anything, and I can't offer you a stable future, but we can work hard together, build a good life together. Back then, looking at her sincere face, I nodded. I was short on money, but I believed I could make a living through my own efforts. I chose Ava because I was moved by her words about working hard together for a better life. But the longer we were together, the more I felt she was different from ordinary people. She would unconsciously show disdain for inexpensive things. She would also order me around for tasks she could easily do herself. It wasn't until I was at one of my part-time jobs and saw her step out of a luxury car, treated like royalty as she entered an exclusive club, that I fully realized our relationship was built on lies, and that she was constantly afraid I was after her money. Ava spoke again, interrupting my thoughts. If you want money in the future, just ask me directly. Using your own mother's illness as an excuse, aren't you afraid of being struck by lightning for that? Her words were utterly laughable to me. I lifted my eyes and looked at her coldly. If I asked you directly, would you give it to me? She faltered, a hesitant look on her face. But the next second, as if confirming something, her eyes filled with scorn. Liam was right. You're only with me for my money. As she spoke, she sent me a $1.88 transfer on her phone with a 3-word memo, gold digger. In the entire 7 years we were together, I hadn't spent a single cent of her money. I even bought her gifts for holidays and anniversaries. She accepted them without a second thought. Yet, because she never got me anything, she'd sarcastically say that it was only natural for a man to buy gifts to appease his girlfriend. This was the me she kept calling a gold digger. This was the New York socialite worth billions. Remembering the gift list for Liam, remembering my mother tormented by illness, dying in pain because we couldn't afford treatment, I couldn't stand to look at her for another second. Just as I stood up to leave, there was another sound at the door. Liam walked in, shrugging off his jacket, revealing a sexy, see-through shirt underneath. But the moment he saw me, he feigned shock and quickly put his jacket back on. Liam, what are you doing here? I turned to Ava. If I remember correctly, this is the apartment we rent together. Not only do you casually give out the passcode, but you also let people barge in whenever they please. Hearing this, Liam put on a look of utter victimhood, scurried over to Ava's side, and grabbed her arm. Ava, how can I be considered people? I just forgot my house keys and wanted to crash here for a night. Besides, if Ava hadn't agreed to share the rent, Liam, you'd be paying for it all yourself. So in a way, you're the one benefiting. I had no idea how many times he'd instigated things like this behind my back. Ava, after hearing him, didn't think she'd done anything wrong. In fact, she seemed to think Liam had a point. Liam's right. I have my own place, so splitting rent here really puts me at a disadvantage. It's like paying someone to sleep with me. What's the difference with that? She pulled out her phone, displayed her payment QR code, and held it in front of me. You don't want people calling you a gold digger, do you? Then pay me back for my share of the rent for the past 7 years. This small, 40-something square meter apartment was what Ava and I rented when we first got together after college. To earn more money, I stayed in New York to work. With my abilities back then, I could only afford a cramped little room far from the city center. It was Ava who said the place was too far, inconvenient for her to visit. It was also Ava who said that tiny room wasn't fit for human habitation, that even being intimate with me there would ruin her mood. She wanted us to rent a bigger place together, so under the pressure of high rent, I took on another part-time job with the time I saved on commuting. Now, not only did she want me to pay back her half of the rent for the past 7 years, but she even implied she felt like she'd paid to sleep with me and had gotten a raw deal. Ava, what have you taken me for these past 7 years? The humiliation and anger on my face were for myself. 7 years of my youth wasted on someone like this. The hand extended towards me trembled. The moment she saw my downcast expression, she pursed her lips and retracted her hand. I was just kidding, at worst. She hadn't finished her sentence. Liam clicked his tongue twice, a disdainful look on his face. Still say you're not after Ava's money? If it weren't for Ava, could you afford such a nice place? Ava, you should just cancel the lease next month. You can't keep letting an outsider take advantage of your generosity or make Liam sign an IOU. That would be fair. If assault weren't illegal, I really wanted to slap each of them. But if I did, they would surely find ways to extort money from me. Tasteless rich people and their favorite malicious games. 7 years I had played along with them long enough. I was done. I'm not signing any IOU. If you want money, feel free to sue me. See if the court will rule against me. I'm not living here anymore either. Since Mr. Liam wants to stay the night, remember to pay Ava rent. Otherwise, you'll become a gold digger too. I was about to leave when Ava grabbed me. The playful look she had moments ago was completely gone, replaced by a touch of reproachful anger. Liam, are you serious? Liam and I were just joking with you. I suggest you think this through. If you leave here, you'll never be able to afford such a good place again. I was truly wrong, incredibly wrong. I shouldn't have let her sweet talk me out of breaking up when I first found out she was a New York socialite. Even more so, I shouldn't have, time and time again, when she accused me of wanting her money, believed her talk about an equal relationship that shouldn't be dominated by money. I only remembered how she'd use her stomach to warm my hands in the coldest part of winter. When I had a headache, she'd gently massage my temples with her warm, little hands. We had indeed loved each other, and it had been sweet. But our love absolutely could not be tainted by money. Ava, let's break up. Only when the words break up left my mouth did she finally drop her playful smile. At the same time, a hint of panic appeared on her face. Break up? Liam, you're actually breaking up with me? I don't agree. What right do you have to dump me? There's a limit to your tantrums. She always put herself on a pedestal, as if being in a relationship with me was a gift she bestowed. I just looked at her calmly. I'm not having a tantrum. Since you constantly think I'm a gold digger after your money, perhaps you should find someone from your own social standing and have a fair relationship. Not wanting to say another word to her, I turned and went back to the bedroom to continue packing. About half a minute later, I heard her roar, Liam, don't you regret this? I ignored her threat and cared even less when she slammed the door, leaving with Liam. A love where I was treated like a thief. I had endured it for 7 years. I didn't blame Ava for my mother's death. She indeed had no obligation to lend me money. But when I needed help the most, even when I knelt before her with an IOU, begging her to save my mother, she turned a blind eye, still thinking I was a gold digger. My love for her and for our 7 years together completely died. In the dead of night, carrying all my luggage, I walked the deserted streets. The vastness of New York held no place for me. Likewise, I had lost my reason for staying. My mother was gone, and our love had run its course. Every second I remained would only add to the sorrow. With nowhere to go, I spent the night in the lobby of a nearby hospital. The first thing I did when I got to work was resign. My boss looked surprised when he received my resignation letter. Resign? Did Ms. Astor approve your resignation? By the way, if you resign now, your bonus for this month will be minimal. We'll just deposit your remaining salary into one account. I frowned. There was too much information, and I couldn't process it all at once. What did he mean, deposit it into one account? And since when did I have a bonus? Most importantly, what was this about Ms. Astor? Seeing my bewildered expression, my boss looked equally puzzled. Aren't you and Ms. Astor dating? Ms. Astor specifically instructed finance to split your salary. Your base salary is paid to you, while your bonuses and raises are deposited into another account. She said you were saving money. I never expected someone like you, with a girlfriend like Ms. Astor, to be so frugal. It's truly rare. So, for all these years, I had only been receiving my starting salary. My repeated requests for raises, it wasn't because I wasn't working hard enough, but because Ava had diverted the extra pay to another account. When I went to finance to get my pay stubs, I saw a $2,000 bonus clearly listed in the earnings column. A few days ago, trying to scrape together that final $2,000, I had delayed paying the hospital by a day. That delay meant my mother didn't get her surgery and passed away. Even more laughably, the total sum of bonuses Ava had skimmed from me over these 7 years was more than enough to cover my mother's medical expenses. I was so incredibly foolish. Foolish enough to just work diligently, terrified of being laid off and losing my livelihood, and foolish enough to be completely deceived by Ava, utterly unaware. To avoid making her think I was a gold digger, not only did I never spend her money, but she also siphoned off my hard-earned income. In this relationship filled with lies and humiliation, I had somehow persevered for 7 years. Just as I was holding my pay stubs, preparing to confront Ava, she brazenly appeared before me. Liam, we just had a little argument, and you run away from home and try to resign? Your temper seems to be getting worse and worse. Following her, Liam wore a gloating expression. He walked over, feigning concern, and said, Liam, you're so ungrateful. You're spending Ava's money, living in the apartment she rents for you. Without Ava, could you even survive in New York? Shameless people truly can lie without batting an eye. I laughed out of sheer anger, about to retort, but Ava cut me off. Liam's right. If it weren't for me these past 7 years, you would have starved to death by now. Let's just say you're acting out today. I'll grant you a day off. Come home with me. I won't even deduct this day of absence from your salary. The more I saw Ava's true colors, the more I felt it. These long 7 years, just how blind had I been? People around us started pointing and whispering about me. When they saw Ava didn't stop them, their voices grew louder. Ms. Astor hid her identity just so Liam wouldn't feel inferior. She even made us keep it a secret. That shows how much Ms. Astor cares for him. He eats her food, lives in her place, and still throws tantrums at Ms. Astor, trying to marry rich without having what it takes. Without Ms. Astor, what is he? The more people around us gossiped, the more smug Ava looked. Liam kept chiming in, pinning all sorts of baseless accusations on me. Liam, didn't you lie about your mother dying just to get $2,000 from Ava, wanting to leech money while trying to maintain a good image? You're such a hypocrite. His words were like cold water on hot oil. The atmosphere around us instantly exploded. Everyone looked at me with contempt, and insults flew relentlessly. I looked at Ava. She still wore an expression of utter indifference. She even seemed to feel a sense of grievance, as if Liam had voiced her innermost thoughts. I twisted my lips into an absurd smile. Just as I was about to speak, Ava casually grabbed my arm, feigning generosity and acting as a peacemaker. Never mind, what's past is past. It's not like I'm short of that little bit of money. If you want money in the future, just ask me openly. There's no need to make up so many excuses. When Ava spoke, the entire office seethed with indignation, everyone thinking I was ungrateful and didn't know my place. Exactly. Ms. Astor is so wealthy, if he wants money, he should just ask directly. To curse his own mother for money, that's just inhuman. I can't believe Liam is this kind of person, and I used to think he was frugal. I even brought him food sometimes. Someone like him, Ms. Astor should just dump him. Make it so he can't survive in New York. I looked at the colleagues who I used to be on good terms with, now also joining in to trample on me. Then I thought about Ava's actions. Suddenly, it all felt meaningless. Since I was leaving anyway, even if I slapped the pay stubs down in front of her right now, she and Liam would just come up with more bizarre statements to have everyone continue humiliating me. I silently put the pay stubs into my pocket. I looked up and smiled at Ava. We've been together for 7 years. You can go ahead and calculate exactly how much of your money I've spent. If you can't name a single cent that was spent on me, then please return the hundreds of thousands you owe me. Otherwise, both you and your company can wait to be sued by me. All that talk about a love untainted by money, yet it was constantly steeped in it. And she, this New York socialite who appeared to spend money like water in everyone else's eyes, had been spending the life-saving money I had saved for my mother. Ava racked her brain, a flicker of panic in her eyes. Of course, she couldn't think of a single instance where she had spent money on me. This was a woman who would insist on splitting the bill for condoms. I had once thought it wasn't that rich people were stingy, but that I simply wasn't worth her spending a single cent on. Perhaps she wanted to argue further, but I no longer wanted to listen. As I turned to leave, Liam suddenly pushed me. I lost my balance and fell to the ground. Liam, stop trying to confuse things. How could Ava possibly owe you money? You dare spread rumors? Aren't you afraid we'll call the police and have you arrested? If you go to jail, who's going to take care of your mother, lying in the hospital, waiting for you to earn money for her? Hurry up and apologize to Ava. Liam still thought he could threaten me, but now I had nothing left to tie me down. Just then, my boss, who happened to be passing by, saw Ava and squeezed into the crowd. She was holding an application form. Ms. Astor, Liam's mother passed away a few days ago. You still haven't approved the employee bereavement payment. Also, Liam's request for a $2,000 salary advance. I withdrew it as you instructed. It's just such a pity. I heard Liam's mother was only $2,000 short of her surgery fees. Besides withholding my bonuses and raises, Ava had also deliberately feigned ignorance and refused to sign the employee bereavement payment form. Even my application for a salary advance had been withdrawn by her. It was only $2,000. Why couldn't she give it to me? Why did she have to make things so difficult for me? Remembering everything I had done for Ava over the years, I felt like a pathetic fool. If I had worked at any other company, I wouldn't have been so exhausted, and I would have had plenty of savings. Maybe Mom would have survived if only I had never met Ava. Those colleagues who had just accused me of using my own mother to get money fell silent as soon as they heard what my boss said. Each one of them lowered their heads, not daring to look at me. Perhaps they hadn't expected the tables to turn so quickly. But when the person in question was Ava, no one dared to challenge her. People always bully the weak, even when the strong are in the wrong. I had understood these principles long ago, but witnessing them in reality still filled me with a sense of desolation. The colleagues I had helped with project plans, the friends whose children I had looked after, all those people I had once assisted, even knowing the truth, none of them dared to speak up for me. It was both laughable and ironic. After composing myself, I spoke calmly. Ms. Astor, have you figured it out yet? Exactly how much money did I leech off you? In contrast to my calmness, Ava was somewhat flustered. She couldn't think of any money she had spent on me, not even a drop of water, not a grain of salt. Ava suddenly gripped her supervisor's hand, her voice tight. Liam's mother, she really passed away? The supervisor nodded, not understanding the situation. Yes, Miss Astor. Didn't you know? Ava's vision blurred, and she nearly stumbled. She couldn't believe that the kind woman who always called her Dear Ava was actually dead, and that she had indirectly caused her death. Seeing her in such a state, anyone who didn't know better might have thought it was Ava's own mother who had passed. I let out a cold laugh, a hint of sarcasm in my voice. Can't remember? Or perhaps there's nothing to remember at all. I had an urge to mock her further, but then I thought, why bother arguing with someone like her? The most important thing now was to collect my mother's ashes and take her away from this heartbreaking city. Ava had always known I was a self-reliant and ambitious person, and in all these years, I truly hadn't spent a single cent of her money. If a person with immense pride is willing to kneel before you for money, then they must be facing tremendous difficulties. Ava had always understood that. It was just that every time she wavered, Liam managed to pull her back. Ava's unfocused eyes suddenly cleared. She looked around frantically, finally spotting me at the elevator. Liam, just as she yelled, the elevator doors closed. A huge sense of crisis welled up inside Ava. She had a premonition that if she couldn't get my forgiveness this time, I would leave her forever. Ava strode towards the elevator, repeatedly mashing the call button. Seeing the floor indicator descending, Ava cursed under her breath and kicked the elevator door a few times. The atmosphere around her grew tense due to her foul temper. Liam naturally knew what Ava was about to do. To stop her, he hurried after her. "Ava, where are you going?" Ava wrenched herself free from Liam, who was clinging to her from behind, her brow furrowed slightly. "I'm going to apologize to Liam." A flash of malice flickered in Liam's eyes, which he quickly concealed. "Ava, if you hadn't given Liam a job, he wouldn't even have been able to stay in New York. His mom died, so what? It's no big deal. At least now he can't use that as an excuse to leech money off you anymore. If you go to him now, you're just giving him the upper hand. Men understand men. Liam is just playing hard to get." In that instant, Ava felt that the Liam standing before her was a stranger. She knew how capable I was. The company's market value had increased significantly in recent years thanks to my efforts. Ironically, it was Ava who had been secretly suppressing me. A human life, yet in Liam's eyes, it was so worthless. Ava had just been carefully recalling our past. She hadn't spent a single penny on me, nor had I exhibited any gold-digging behavior. It seemed that every time I had been hysterical, every accusation and explanation I had offered, Ava had been misled by Liam's words. The image of me as a gold digger had become deeply ingrained in her mind. The current situation was entirely due to Liam's instigation. After every single argument we had, the words were familiar, the script was familiar, but now Ava only felt disgusted. If it weren't for Liam, Ava wouldn't have developed such a twisted perspective on love. By the time she realized it, everything was already too late. Seeing Liam blocking the elevator entrance, Ava's face turned unusually cold. "Move, Liam." Unwilling to yield, he had a look of grievance in his eyes. "Ava, I can't let you." Before he could finish, Ava shoved him aside. "If you get in my way again, I'll never see you again in my life." When Ava finally reached the ground floor, she ran towards the entrance shouting, "Liam, don't go." I ignored her, got into a car, and left the company. By the time Ava reached the doorway, all she could smell was exhaust fumes. For a moment, she felt a wave of defeat. For the 3 days after I left the company, Ava had been constantly searching for me. Of course, I hadn't been idle either. I remembered a senior classmate from college who I'd heard had opened her own law firm after graduation. I found her in my contacts and tentatively sent a message. No red exclamation mark. Thankfully, she hadn't deleted me. Because of our previous acquaintance, my former classmate and I quickly reconnected. I described my situation to her and relayed what my boss had said, hoping she could help me recover the money. It was what I deserved. I had been blinded by love before, but now I genuinely wanted to sever this relationship completely. What was rightfully mine had to be reclaimed. I didn't want Ava's money, nor did I want to be a gold digger. To prevent any unexpected issues, I asked my classmate to print out the relevant laws and regulations. With evidence in hand, no one could slander me. In just 3 days, Ava had become visibly haggard. When she finally received news of me, it was in the form of a court summons. Ava held the document, taking a long time to process it. A self-deprecating smile touched her lips. The lawsuit wasn't as difficult as I had imagined. After winning the case, the money was quickly deposited into my account. Looking at the balance, it felt somewhat surreal. My mother was gone. This money was essentially useless to me now. But I couldn't let the money I rightfully deserved be unjustly withheld by Ava. At the courthouse entrance, the wind blew through my hair. I returned to my hometown, a small town in Pennsylvania. I opened the gate to the small courtyard house where my mother and I had lived, relying on each other. The familiar scent filled the air, and tears welled up in my eyes once more. I helplessly clutched my mother's ashes, squatted on the ground, and wept uncontrollably. "I'm sorry, Mom. I couldn't give you a good life. I'm sorry, Mom. I couldn't get the surgery money in time. I'm sorry, Mom. You didn't get to see me get married." There were so many things I had failed my mother in. After crying until I was exhausted, I saw a small stool in the yard. It still had the smiley face my mom had drawn for me on it. But the stool, having been used for a long time, was covered in moss. I picked up the stool and walked to the nearby creek. With a brush, I scrubbed away the dirt again and again. The smiley face on the stool became clearer and clearer. That smile looked so much like Mom's. I gently caressed the drawing on the stool and murmured, "Mom, I'll live a good life." As the words left my lips, my tears dripped onto the stool. I really couldn't live without my mom. After composing myself, I returned to the small courtyard. Keeping busy always helps to forget troubles. After cleaning the yard, I felt much more energetic. These past few days, I'd been wandering around the area, looking for some suitable work, but I'd found nothing. The village had quite a few ponds, which gave me the idea of building a fish farm. Half for raising fish and the other half for creating a high-end fishing spot. To attract premium clients could also help boost the local economy. I checked my bank balance and started to sketch out a blueprint for the fish farm in my mind. But I was a complete novice in this field, and I stumbled along, facing many setbacks. My daily routine consisted of sitting at my doorstep, lost in thought. My neighbor, Mrs. Miller, walked over with an apple. Seeing that I hadn't noticed her, she waved her hand in front of my face. "Liam, what's wrong? You've been so absent-minded lately. Tell me about it. I'll help you. I want to invest in a fish farm, but there are some things I don't understand," I said, not really expecting Mrs. Miller to be able to help, but just to ease her worry. To my surprise, Mrs. Miller clapped her hands in approval. "A fish farm? That's a great idea. My niece, Sophia, specializes in this. She's coming over for dinner later. I'll introduce you to her. You can ask her for help." My eyes widened in disbelief. Mrs. Miller teased. "What? Did you think I was tricking you?" I quickly shook my head, agreeing to the meeting later. This was truly a godsend. I didn't hesitate and immediately went to Mrs. Miller's house to help with the cooking. When Sophia arrived, her feet were caked in mud. She had probably just come back from inspecting a fish farm. As soon as she entered, she saw me squatting on the floor washing vegetables. She paused for a moment, stepped back outside to check the house number, then came back in. The awkward atmosphere was broken by Mrs. Miller's arrival. "Sophia, you're here? This is Liam. He's thinking about investing in a fish farm. Aren't you an expert in this field? I asked the young man to come and consult you." Knowing that the person before me was Sophia, I stopped what I was doing, stood up, and walked towards her. "Hello, Ms. Miller, I'm Liam." Sophia wiped her hands on her clothes and shook my hand warmly. "Hello." She seemed very approachable. Her slightly clumsy movements were rather endearing. After dinner, Sophia suggested we go take a look at the ponds I was planning to develop. It would be a lie to say I wasn't moved. She was so busy, she could have easily found an excuse to dismiss me. I changed my clothes and went with Sophia to the site. "Your ponds are about 30 acres. For fish farming, the water depth should be around 8 feet. You'd use about 130 to 140 pounds of quicklime per acre to clear the pond. Your current depth isn't sufficient." I took out a notebook, jotting down notes while nodding, and quickly asked, "Are there specific requirements for the fish species?" Sophia thought for a moment and replied, "Typically for a farm this size, you might stock around 2,000 carp, 1,500 bream, and about 20 silver carp per designated section. But initially, it's better to start with species that are easier to raise. Don't worry about workers. I can introduce you to some experienced people when the time comes. As for the high-end fishing spot you're planning, you'll need to divide the ponds into zones. Beginners and experts can't be in the same area. Beginners will get frustrated if they don't catch anything while seeing others succeed. There's also a social-type fishing pond where fishing isn't the main goal. Your advertising should reflect that to attract the right crowd." Sophia talked with me for the entire afternoon. I had initially thought she was just some nouveau riche who had gotten wealthy from fish farming. After getting to know her better, I discovered she actually had a PhD in agricultural science and had even published several SCI papers on aquaculture. With Sophia's help, my fish farm and fishing spot began to take shape. The beginner's pond was always half price, and even if a customer didn't catch a single fish, as the owner, I would give them one. That's where the farm-raised fish came in handy. The second pond had no fishing fee, but any fish caught were paid for by weight, which greatly satisfied the customers. Later ponds included restaurants, and the deluxe versions even had water entertainment facilities. My funds were a bit tight, but with Sophia's initial help, I managed to keep things afloat. The fish farm quickly became profitable, and my net worth soared. After these few months, Sophia and I became much closer. I stopped calling her Ms. Miller, and she started calling me Liam. One day, I was in the yard, working on financial reports, when I heard Sophia's voice from a distance. Soon, she walked up to me. "Doing reports?" "Yeah, almost done. Wait for me a bit." "Okay." Although she was waiting for me, Sophia didn't stay idle. She helped clean the yard and even wash my dirty dishes. At first, I felt embarrassed and told her not to do these things, but no amount of persuasion worked, so I just let her. Your bowl is still like it was yesterday. Did you skip breakfast? My typing hands paused. I felt a bit guilty. Don't even think about making excuses to fool me, Liam. I smiled helplessly and had to admit it. Because of the fish farm, I often got too busy and forgot to eat. Sophia was very concerned about me skipping meals. Seeing me nod, Sophia looked exasperated as if to say, "You could do better. Health is wealth, the usual." The usual. The usual was Sophia's signature tomato soup and grilled cheese sandwich. She made it really well. Both were bosses, but Ava was always high and mighty. Forget her cooking for me. After Liam appeared, if I was sick and asked her to simply get me a cup of hot water, it would be twisted into gold-digging behavior. Maybe Sophia wasn't as rich as her, but first-generation entrepreneurs are always smarter and tougher than the inherited wealth generation. After I finished the reports, the meal was placed before me. When I was halfway through, Sophia smiled and spoke, "Full." Whenever I'm full, my eating speed slows down. One should always finish what others prepare with care. Even if I was full, I would slowly finish the food. If you're full, don't eat more. You'll feel uncomfortable. I paused, then chuckled. Sophia, are you a mind reader? You know me so well. Ha ha ha, I can't help it. Your thoughts are written all over your face. It's hard not to know simple thoughts. It was the first time someone had described me that way. Ava always thought I was a calculating gold digger. If I was really as Sophia said, why had Ava never once considered my feelings all these years? Seeing my expression change, Sophia quickly asked, "What's wrong? Did I say something wrong?" I smiled, shook my head, and my expression returned to normal. Then Sophia took out a gift box from behind her. "See if you like it." I wasn't shy. I took it and opened it directly. It was a watch. Last month, I was invited to a jewelry show, and the organizers suddenly gave it to me. I mean, it was a gift, and I thought it would suit you. Ha ha ha. I haven't had a chance to give it to you. If you don't like it, just, put it somewhere. Anyway, I like it. What did you say? Sophia was surprised by my answer. She had given me many things before, and I had always accepted them politely. This was the first time I had proactively said I liked something, not out of politeness, but genuinely. Sophia's stunned look was just like when we first met. I said I really like your gift. Her stammering and trying to cover things up just now was really amusing. She said my thoughts were simple and easy to guess, but wasn't she the same? This watch was no casual gift. It would have cost a lot of money and required a big decision. Sophia probably thought I didn't understand these things, but anyone not foolish could see such an expensive watch. How could it possibly be a party favor from an event? Had Ava ever given me any gifts? Seemed not, at least not that I could recall. If there was anything, it was her half of the birthday cake cost each year, which we split. But she ate most of the cake anyway to suit her taste. I always bought mango cake. Thinking back, I was really foolish to think such a woman truly loved me. Those small things she did that moved me were all low-cost efforts, things anyone could do. Yet I was deeply moved, thinking I couldn't live without her. Sophia looked at me tenderly, and I felt a bit shy under her gaze. "Why are you staring at me?" Sophia snapped back to reality and quickly looked away. She wouldn't dare admit she had been captivated by my face. "Ahem, sorry, Liam. I was thinking of taking you to see the new fish farm tomorrow. Want to go?" An invitation from the great President Miller. Of course I'll go. Okay, you can dress up a bit tomorrow. There's a banquet at the new farm in the evening. The scenery is great. I'll take pictures for you then. Perhaps afraid I'd misunderstand, Sophia quickly clarified. "I'm not saying your usual clothes aren't good-looking. You always look great. I saw on your social media you like taking photos, so I thought I'd help. Wear whatever you like." Sophia, really, she stutters when she's nervous. "Got it. I'll wear my favorite clothes tomorrow. Don't overthink it." I'm not overthinking it either. The next morning, looking at a closet full of clothes Sophia had given me, I put my head in my hand and smiled. Sophia, which one was her favorite for me? Recalling her expression each time she gave a gift, I really couldn't pick one. She seemed to only care if I liked them. 3 hours later, I finally made a decision. A refined light blue shirt, perfect to go with the watch she had given me. Sophia had planned to pick me up, but I declined. I wanted to go alone to give her a quiet surprise, to show her through my actions that I loved her gifts, every single one. But unexpectedly, as I was about to enter the venue, I saw Ava. I wanted to leave quickly, but she grabbed my wrist. I instinctively pulled away, looking at her warily. What are you doing here? Ava was stung by my reaction. Liam, I've been looking for you for so long. I finally found out where you are. Can you forgive me? Give me another chance? It was all my fault, before listening to Liam's sour discord between us. Stop, hold it. I don't want to hear your explanations. I don't want to see you again. As for the past, it's over. Don't bother me anymore. Ava, unwilling to give up, took out a gift box from behind her. It was a high-end luxury item, the kind favored by elite men. When I was younger, I also dreamed of working hard so that one day I could own such luxuries. In such a short time, another woman was offering me such a gift. Ava held the gift box and said solemnly, Liam, let's get married. I'll spend my life making it up to you. Give me one more chance. Before I could refuse, Sophia rushed over and stood in front of me, staking her claim. Ms. Astor, trying to steal my man on my turf isn't very appropriate, is it? What did she mean, her man? Looking at her slightly angry face, a smile spread across mine. With someone else intervening, Ava put down the gift box she was holding, looking at Sophia with hostility. Her voice was full of anger when she spoke. What do you mean, your man? Liam is my boyfriend, Sophia declared. I quickly gestured to Sophia and clarified, mainly for Ava's benefit. No, she isn't my girlfriend. We broke up a long time ago. Hearing this, Sophia smiled, sized up Ava, and naturally noticed the gift box in her hand. I remember that day at the auction, Ms. Astor, you were bidding on a watch. I thought with your wealth I wouldn't stand a chance, but you gave up when the bid reached $2 million. Did you decide you preferred this less expensive one for Liam instead? Sophia's words shocked me. $2 million? Had she spent $2 million on this watch for me? I immediately wanted to take off the watch. Are you crazy, buying something so expensive for me? Sophia gently patted my hand. Because you're worth it. At this moment, Ava also saw the watch on my wrist. She had originally planned to buy that very watch for me at the auction, but $2 million. It wasn't that she didn't have it. She just subconsciously felt I wasn't worthy of it. Ava looked at the scene before her, her figure faltering. What she had been reluctant to buy for me, someone else naturally had. She had truly lost completely. People always fantasize about what they can't have. Ava's voice choked with sobs. Liam, that money of yours, I didn't intentionally withhold it. It's just that a long time ago, you said you wanted to marry me, wanted to save up for our wedding yourself. I was afraid you wouldn't be able to save it, so I wanted to help you. I never intended to take your money for myself. I truly love you. I can give you anything you want. Sophia still stood before me, a look of disdain on her face. Ms. Astor, I know a bit about what happened between you two. I didn't mention it because I was afraid of hurting Liam. If you truly loved him, you wouldn't have constantly wondered if he was a gold digger. Even if someone was sowing discord, the auction also proved you don't love him. When I give him gifts, I never ask for anything in return. As long as he's happy, I'm willing to spend any amount. I only want to see his joy the moment he receives a gift. You can't do that. You value money too much. If you love someone, you give them the best. You didn't. Sophia's words struck Ava's heart one by one. Seeing me tightly holding Sophia's hand, she knew I would never return to her side and would never forgive her. Ava, I don't love you anymore. Because of you, I lost so much. My mother, my friends, my career. I've done enough. If you feel any guilt, don't come looking for me again. If your shadow is in my life, I find it quite disgusting. After saying that, I pulled Sophia away. Without looking back, Ava watched my departing figure. Tears streamed uncontrollably from her eyes. She reached out to grab me, but found me walking further and further away. Heartache and a sense of suffocation overwhelmed her. Liam, I'm sorry. Sophia turned to see Ava breaking down in tears, feeling a myriad of emotions. After walking hand in hand with Sophia for a while, she took my hand in hers, leading the way this time. Didn't we say I'd take pictures for you? I followed her, puzzled. When she stopped, I leaned forward to see it was a whole field of camellias. How did you know I like Liam? Will you be my boyfriend? Sophia and I spoke at the same time. Her voice overshadowed mine. Who confesses like that? It made me blush. I really like you, Liam. Can you give me a chance? How did you know I like camellias? I never told you. I asked, a bit puzzled. You always use laundry detergent with that scent, and there are a few planted in your yard. I have other flowers in my yard too, I asked again. But whatever you do, you tend to face the camellias. You take the best care of them, and when you're in a bad mood, you like to tend to them. She's usually so cool and aloof with others, but always smiling with me. She's really wonderful, so sincere and passionate. If I had met her earlier, I wouldn't have wasted 7 years. Sophia, I like you too.